Hey guys, so this is our sheep slash goat pen, and you can see there's quite a bit of hay here that the goats have gone through. They've eaten what they wanted and now they're just pushing it out of the way. So instead of throwing that away or just being frustrated with it, what we do first is I take the excess and I throw it over to use as bedding for the animals to keep them warm and dry. Because I do that, I don't have to buy straw and I don't have to buy sawdust as bedding for the animals. As you can see, they have a lot of bedding. They've got about 1.5 feet of bedding. Now, once they have trampled it and pooped on it and peed on it over the course of a few weeks, I will then take that from inside the pen, inside their shelter, and I will take that out to the greenhouse and I will put it in the hotbed. And because it's really high in carbon, it's mostly straw, or not straw, it's mostly grass, stems of alfalfa, that kind of thing. Because it's mostly carbon, the little bit of poop and pee that they have on it isn't overpowering. It's not going to smell bad. It's not going to heat up too fast. So it's cold enough out here. We have to be careful not to give them too much water because it freezes and then we can't get more water in and then the container breaks. So we bring them out 2 gallons of hot water at a time throughout the day. It's good for us to get the exercise and it keeps their water warm. And there is our little sled with the straw in it. All right. Anything that's moldy, I just take to the hotbed. I don't put it in there for bedding. I don't put it in for them to walk on. We did keep animals in this spot last year, and so it does have some manure on it. So I'm just getting the fluffy stuff on top that they haven't eaten and putting it in, and then I'm taking what's underneath that didn't get cleaned out from last summer and taking that to the hotbed because it's slightly moldy, starting to break down, and has some manure in it. I'll introduce you to everybody. This is Heidi, and oh, what's the boy's name? Starts with an M. It's a really weird name. Anyway, one of our sheep, I don't know which one is the girl. When they have this much wool on them, it's hard to tell. One of them is pregnant and the other one is a wether. And so she should be having her lambs in March. And then this is Palomino. Palomino is due in May. And she is our head honcho here. We feed them a combination of alfalfa hay and grass hay. We give them both. The alfalfa is really good for protein. It's a hot feed. Make sure to pull that out. It's a hot feed, but it's not as good for their stomachs. It's good calories, protein, all fantastic, but it's not good for their stomachs. So we give them grass as well for fiber and for helping their digestion against all that really rich fruit that's in the alfalfa. Midge, that's the name of the other sheep, Midge. Okay, and this is Little Miss Frost, and she is due to kid next month. You can see she's quite a bit wider, and she is the dog at the bottom of the pile. She gets beat up on by everybody else. Alright, so there's the sheep. And Little Miss Frost has been segregated by herself because she's so pregnant, and Palomino keeps picking on her. So I don't want this baby having babies out in the cold because our other goat won't let her into the shelter. So we've kind of cordoned her off a spot, and as you can see, the other animals can get into the far spot. There's plenty of room for them. They don't fight. This girl's the only one who gets picked on. So she has water here. She has food. They have food and they have water. And what we do is one of our goats gets bred super early, like in the beginning of September, and our other goat gets bred in the end of December, beginning of January. And that way we have our breedings offset and we don't miss milk during any time of the year. We're just barely drying Palomino up because Frost is going to deliver here in February. So we'll have like 3 weeks where we don't have any goat's milk, but that's it. How you doing, Mama? Look who we just found. Hi, Mama. I don't see anybody else, just the two. How's everybody doing, Mama? You gonna clean everybody up, or should I go get a towel? I think I'm gonna go get a towel. Well, maybe she's doing it. Is she doing it? Yeah, I'm gonna go get a towel.
Taking care of our early newborn Chai's babies.
So she had a labor that went from 0 to 60 very quickly, which is exactly what you want. She's okay. She's not hurting them.
She's just sniffing them out.
So I've been watching her all day. She'd been in labor, obviously. And I went in the house for half an hour, came back out, and we had 3 babies on the ground. 2 of them were in pools of amniotic fluid. One of them she was licking on, but it was starting to get cold. It's been in the 20s at night here. And so we sat and watched her for about 45 minutes, waiting for her to pay attention to them. Obviously, the 2 that were in the pools of amniotic fluid, I went in and dried them off. But the minute that I stepped in to help, she just lost interest in the babies, complete interest. But I would have lost the 2 babies because they were going to freeze in that pool of slime because she was only paying attention to the white one. So
this one. So these 2 would have died.
Yeah, they would have just frozen. So we were already planning on bottle feeding one of them because it's for Esther Emery. She's coming down to visit us and get one of the babies. So this baby's going to be hers. We're putting her on bottles. We're going to take the 2 bucklings out to Mama again in the morning because I only like to milk once a day. So I will leave the babies on. I keep them separated at night so there's milk for me in the morning. I milk in the mornings and then I leave the babies with the mamas all day. And that way I only have to milk once a day. This microclimate we have in the backyard with the straw, And the white wall, it's so much warmer in the backyard than it is anywhere else on the property. Which is fantastic until it gets to be the heat of summer. Okay, so when you have a new mama that doesn't want to be milked, have some kind of wet cloth because it simulates babies. You want to do it as early as possible. Usually I use the babies to help the mama let her milk down. So we'll put the babies in the cage at night and then we'll clip her next to the babies when I milk her. And that way she thinks that it's them because she's looking at them. Right now I'm needing to milk her out so that I can give the milk to the babies. Right now she has a lot of colostrum. And I see a lot of flies in there. We need to get them out to the pasture as soon as possible. So I'm milking her about every 4 hours. That's just for her comfort. I want her to bond with me. I want to make sure that she's not in pain from having too much milk in there. I'm feeding the babies about every 4 hours too. It seems to be when they're willing to eat. If I try to go any closer than 4 hours, they won't drink enough. So. It can take a lot of stubborn to get goats to nurse. You have to put your thumb in one side of their mouth, open their mouth to get the nipple in. And then you have to kind of sit there and work with them a bit. The key is be more stubborn than they are. Now they can't drink too much early on, so don't overfeed them. 2 tablespoons, 1/4 cup tops. Alright, so the babies were in the kitchen last night and they only asked to be fed every 4 hours, which was nice. When I was a kid and we raised bum lambs, I had to get up every 2 hours to feed them and I had an alarm clock. But I let these guys be my alarm clock because they were just in the kitchen. When they woke up, we fed them. I don't know. These guys are a little bit slower to get started. I don't know if it was because they were triplets or because Mama didn't take care of them right away, but they're just a little bit slower. The doeling, which Paige is bringing out, is the biggest of the 3. And she's doing pretty good, but these little bucklings are just a little more lethargic than I want them. So it is almost 60 degrees in here, which is really, can you see that? But it's 20 degrees outside. And so I don't want these guys in my kitchen anymore because they wander around and they pee and they poop, and it's fine with me that they're wandering around and wanting to play. I don't want to have to restrict them is the thing. I'd rather that they could just come out here and play where the floors aren't slippery. Usually by this time you'd have little bouncy babies, and so you can see they're just a little lethargic. They're not taking the bottle quite as well as I'd like them to. Their eyes are a little bit staring instead of bright. So the girls played with and loved on and rubbed on the babies all night. At the beginning of the night, I tried to feed them every 20 minutes, just a little bit, but they were getting too sleepy in the heat in the kitchen to be able to do that. And so, so I just transitioned to on demand. When they woke up and they asked to be fed, that's when I fed them. Their mama still wants them. I got colostrum off of hers, so the reason that they're out here instead of with mom just trying to get back on is that it's too cold outside. 26 degrees is too cold for brand new babies to be out in, unless they have a mama and they're nursing every 3 minutes. But they haven't really been interested in eating more often than about every 4 hours, and then they'll drink quite a bit. So I'll probably today bring them out some every 2 hours. These guys are the bucklings. Again, I'm still waiting for Paige to bring out the doe. Now, I want to get these guys back on the mom because I only want to have to milk once a day. He's so tired he doesn't know how to lay down. Lay down, baby. If you're tired, lay down. Lay down. But again, on my kitchen floor, they just kind of slip and slide all over the place. We have a towel there, but they always move off of it. Huh. See, and that guy has been the most lethargic. He's not the smallest, he's the medium. He's the one that Mama actually was trying to dry off. Huh, baby? Huh. But he's the one with the glassiest stare. I wish he was a little bit more energetic. You can lay down if you're tired. It's nice and warm in here. Lay down. Do you need help laying down? I fed them about half an hour ago. So they still have plenty of milk in their bellies. They're not hungry. When they shake like that, that means I'm full. I'm contented, I'm full. You got her? Thanks for putting shoes on. Now, what is it you called the boys?
Peter is this little brown one.
Peter's the little brown one. Hazelnut is the girl.
Yes, and that one's Robin. Kind of likes to call
And
her.
Robin, I like that. Okay, so you can see that Hazelnut is bigger. I think she was the first one born. That's usually how it works, is the first baby's the biggest, and then the last baby is the smallest. So I think it was Hazelnut. Although I do think he might have been the last one. I don't know. Hazelnut, Robin, and then Peter. But you can see she's the one that's up and moving. She's curious. She's looking around. He may be getting a little more curious. That's a good sign. There's not much they can hurt out here. The ducks have already been through my whole perennial bed eating grass and comfrey and everything. And so if these guys go and lay down on something, that's about the most damage they can do. So between my 2 goats, milked once a day, this is how much milk I'm getting. And they still haven't come into full production yet. So I leave just enough milk in there so that they're not having to fight too hard to get any. The thing is, she has really sensitive udder, teat, everything. She doesn't like to give more than a certain amount. She has a lot in there, but she gets really bored with being milked. So the trick with her is not to let her get too full. So probably what I need to do is, last night I didn't milk her out before I put her in, and she still had a little milk in her from the baby's nursing. And what I need to do is go in and milk her out at night so she's totally empty, because this morning she was a lot fuller than she was the day before. And she does not like to be milked out all the way. She feels like there's a certain amount of time she should be expected to stand. See, she doesn't even want to let them nurse right now. She just feels like she's had enough. And she's a very opinionated goat that way. We fought hard with her the first year because she was so stuck in her ways on that. She did not want to be there longer than she felt like she should be. So that just means we have to milk her more often so her bag doesn't get full, so she doesn't get tired of being milked. And I've never milked her in a stanchion. There we go. Now she's feeling a little less agitated. So I keep him a little bit hungry. You can see she does have hay, but as far as like any kind of grain or the higher quality hay, I don't give it to her unless I'm milking her, because she has a sensitivity to alfalfa. It makes her feet hurt. So if I give her alfalfa, I give her like a couple handfuls is all. And babies are happy and she's happy and I'm happy because I only have to milk once a day. She gave me 2 quarts anyway. And now I need to go milk chamomile. And so this is happiness. Everybody's happy. We're going to try and move everybody out into the field here really quick because all of this deep bed mulch is starting to breed flies. I don't want them in flies. When it warms up, the flies start to hatch out. I don't like that. I don't want them out here in it, and I want to clean it up for hotbeds. So that's what we're aiming for right now, is getting that electric fence up. The one that let the pigs through is the one I need to get fixed up. Turns out that the fencer was actually defective and unreliable, so that was why that happened with the pigs. Anyway, I'm going to go milk chamomile. So chai, I'll see if I can put that video up. Chai is a first-time freshener, and a lot of times when you have a new freshener, if they're still hormonal, having a warm rag, a warm wet rag to put on their teats kind of is like the slobber from a baby goat nursing. And so now Chai is just standing for me when I milk her. And she's never been milked before. By her second time that I milked her, I just talked quietly to her. I clipped her best friend next to her on the fence to milk her, so I wasn't taking her away from her friends where she was scared and alone. Instead, I milked her right next to her friends. I put her friend on a clip, and I put her on a clip, and then I didn't even feed her anything. I just came and milked her. And that's what those hormones, those mom hormones, will do for you. If you can get to them soon enough, they'll adopt onto you in lieu of their babies. So make sure to use those hormones. Is that happier, Mama? There we go. And now she's just about empty.